To review what we did yesterday. So yesterday we started looking into a new framework called AVFoundation. AVFoundation allows us to do audio, video into our applications, or add audio, video into our applications. As far as setting up the UI of our application, we added a collection view so far. We have a section header as well for the collection view. So we saw how to do that in our collection view. We have two bar button items. The first one is for video. This doesn't work yet. We need to test that on the device. And again, I highly encourage you, if you have a device, to test it on the device as we go. So if the device does not have a camera, this is going to be disabled. Currently, it's grayed out here to show it being disabled. Next button is the photo library. So I click on the photo library, it takes us to our photo library, so we could select either an image or a video. Where we left off yesterday, we were able to select a photo or a video. And we were able to click on the video and play the video using, what did we play the video with? What played the video? Anybody recall?
AV player.
AV player had the actual URL, right? But the actual thing that played it was AV player view controller, correct?
Yes.
All right, awesome, very good. Objectives, so far our objectives of this particular application is to capture video. We're not able to capture video yet. This is going to be with the device, right? Because again, the simulator cannot capture video. So we'll do capturing video today. And again, if you have a device, strongly encourage to use it. Play video, we could play video already using the AV player view controller. We could also generate a video preview using the AV asset image generator. In that particular extension we wrote on the URL there, we saw a bit of like low-level frameworks that allows us to do this processing, right? Along the way, we saw some core media frameworks, which was CM Time, and we were able to convert a URL to some sort of image given a timestamp. And the timestamp we used was using CM Time. So we used CM Time to convert that, to get that timestamp there. And it was just the first second of the video. Also today, today we'll be doing capturing video and playing video in a UI view or a CA layer here, rather, because the UI view itself cannot play the video, but we have to access the layer in order to play the video. And we'll see how we get to persistent video today. Again, I really want to keep the lesson, I want to give us enough time to keep working on the group project there. So if we don't fully complete persistent video, we'll continue that tomorrow, because I don't want to drain us with lectures all day and then we don't have that capacity to build our group project app. But for sure, we should get access to capturing video and playing video in our header view here. And that header view, it will just use a random video and play that video here in the header view. All right, so we did this part yesterday. We did the user UI, the user interface yesterday as well. We went through different aspects of our view controller to set that up. We did the supplementary view that adds the header view on our collection view there. We created a model. Now keep in mind this model, if we're using core data, this is not the model we'll be using, but this model gets us to create objects and to add those objects to our collection view. So the model we have here is a media object, and those are the properties it has. The main data for our collection view is media objects. We were able to configure the picker view to capture images, video. We went down, we disabled the video button here using the syntax. So is the source available, the camera? If the camera is not available, disable the video button. Moving on here, we went down to our did finish picking media. This is really where you know what the user selected and what type of media the user selected. So here we did some logic to find out if it's an image, go ahead and grab the image, create an image data, and append it to our array. That reloads our collection view. Great, we have a custom cell which we have already. It's a media cell, we set that up. And either there's an image or a video, we did that. Capturing video, we did that already. Well, capturing video we'll do today. So we'll set up this particular function today. If I have a camera, this only works if there's a camera. So I cannot click on the button if it's disabled. But if it's not disabled, I'll set the camera and I'll present the picker view. Great. Along the way, so really and truly, number 10 is where we are now in the particular lesson module. So we're right at number 10. We're about to implement the device. And keep in mind, if you don't have a device right now, just follow the code, but you cannot test the actual video capture. Does that make sense? But when you do get hold of a device, you'll be able to have that code work as well. So we'll make this particular code work as well today. So that's where we're gonna actually start from now. So let's go ahead and do that. So capturing video is what we're after. To see where we are, just run the app. Run the app. There's no data here. Am I on? 1 second. Shift Command A. Is it? All right, cool. Basically, what I'm doing here, so I was in dark mode. If you want to go from dark mode to light mode, it's Shift Command A, right? From dark mode to light mode. Everybody with me? Hello?
Yep.
Okay, yep. Cool. Cool. So if you just want to toggle between dark mode and light mode, it's Shift Command A, okay? All right, so this was in dark mode. So if you want, let's go ahead and test where we are, the functionality we have so far. So if I click on the photo library, I select a photo. Just verify that this still works, right? So I'm able to get a photo here in my collection view. So right now I have one cell. I have one media object. Okay, so moving on, we want to go to the device now. So when I run this on my device, let me run it on my device. Again, if you do have a device, please run it on your device. If you don't have a device, just keep running it on your simulator, that's okay. But just for people without a device, just follow along with what I'm doing, but surely do write the code as well. So you have the code. So on the device, this is my device. And again, as we said, the device has a camera. So that's why we see this camera button enabled. It's enabled here, it's disabled in the simulator. So let's go write some code so that when I click on my camera button, it displays something. Let's work on that. So where do we go? We go to the view controller, we go to the method video button pressed. So here, this is where we're gonna start writing code this morning. So there's an action video button pressed. When I press on that video button, I want something to happen. What do I want to happen? Well, I want to do image speaker controller. I want to change the source type to camera. And
Wait,
I want.
we're following along, no?
What's that?
We're typing what you're typing right now, no?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so because my computer is like freezing and slowing down.
It's freezing and it's crying. Try to if you're not using Chrome, quit Chrome. If you're not using Slack, also shut down Slack. So at minimum, you should just have Xcode and Zoom, really.
Okay, I'm just trying to get back to because everything shut down. Well, my whole Xcode just shut down.
Yeah, I think yeah, definitely I'll do that. I think Zoom also grabs a lot of resources, which makes sense because it's a video conferencing app. So the less apps you have running, even on my 8-core machine, it's still like blazing fan over here. So
now we are in the media view.
I'm in the MediaFeed view controller, and we're looking at the video button press function.
Awesome.
So image speaker, we set the camera here, and next we're just going to present. We'll just present the image speaker. Present the image speaker. Great. So at this point, we added 2 lines here. So now I will go ahead and run it on my device. So I'll run it on my device. My device is selected here. If you have a device, again, please use a device.
Yeah, I hate to interrupt, but I just got a clarifying question.
Yep.
So depending on what button you press, it's going to use the same exact image picker controller, just changing the source depending on that button?
Yes, exactly.
So it's the same instance of the image picker controller?
Yes, we have a strong reference to it here.
Okay.
Cool?
Cool. Just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So
Like,
that's the same. No, definitely. Yeah, so it's the same instance of the image picker, whether you choose the camera or the photo library. Very good. So now we'll run it on our device. I think about 60–70% of us have devices the last time we checked. Okay, so my device is up. Again, my device is on the right and my simulator is on the left. So I'll click on the photo, I'll click on the camera. Camera comes up, great. Shows some stuff here. I'll switch over to video. We want to do video capture. And let's do some video. So I'm capturing video, stop video, and use video. At this point, I'm able to use the video.
Alex?
Yes.
So I'm getting an error when I click on the video. It's saying that the app's info plist must contain an NS camera.
Yes, I think that should have happened for me, but I think because I use the same app bundle name, it's not happening. But now, yeah, that should happen. So what happens here, whatever has happened to a mini should happen to everybody that's running on the device. Can I get confirmation that's happening?
Yep.
Right, so again, this could be my settings because I have the same app running already on a different bundle, on the same bundle name. But basically here, I need to ask the user for permissions to use the camera, right? So if we look back at the lesson, good thing that I have this here. We all see my lesson here, the lesson here, where it says we need to set the following keys.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So since we're doing video capture, those are the two keys. It's mandatory that we set those two keys in the info list, right? Again, that app I'm running, it has the same bundle ID that I used before to create this lesson. So the user basically allowed the app access already. But for you, everybody should be getting a crash or some sort of warning in the console. So we need to add those two keys in our info list. The first key that we see here is an NS camera usage description. I need to tell the user, I need access to your camera, right? So we need to put that key into our info list and we need to give some sort of description. Everybody has access to the lesson, right? It's on Canvas?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so we're looking at number 10 here. So you could do some copy paste in here. So number 10. So we need to copy, go ahead and copy the NS camera description here. We need to add that in, okay? And when you click on record or when you move to video, you also need to add the NS microphone usage description. Because what's happening, if I want to do a video, I'm also listening to audio. So the user needs to know that the app is requesting audio access as well. So two things we need to add if you're doing any sort of video capture. One, the camera, and two, the microphone usage. Everybody with me?
Yes.
All right, cool. So let's do the first one first. So copy the first string here, where it's just the NS string. Copy the first string, NS camera, and let's go to our info list. And again, that's like an archive from Xcode because, hey, you see I do not have it, but you should have it. And again, it might be just the bundle, it's the same. That's why it did not crash. But anyway, let's add the keys in. To add the key in, I'm in the info list, so click on your info list. We only have one info list here. Everybody click on the add button at the very top where it says information property list. Do we see that button here, the add button?
Yes.
All right, click on it and just paste the key in where it says app category. Just paste the key in and press enter.
What if you don't have a simulator? What's the key?
What if you don't have a simulator?
I mean, if I don't have an iPhone.
Do you see the lesson? You on the lesson, correct?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Definitely follow the lesson so you could do the copy pasting part. So what we did was we copied number 1 here. Do you have access to number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just copy the NS camera description here and go to the info list. And at the top where it says information property list, on that same line, click on the add button and paste the key in and press enter. At this point, it will tell you privacy camera usage description. So here we could give the user some sort of prompt like please allow access to the camera for capturing or for creating your media feed, for example. Okay. Oh, what did I do?
And then the same thing for the next.
Yeah, and the same thing for the next one, exactly. So let me just cheat here a little bit. Let me just grab the string that I have already. Today's not the day for this. Okay, cool. I'll just type it back. So please allow access to the camera. Awesome. And for the next one, let's go back to the lesson. So the next one we said it's microphone access. So I will copy the key that says NS microphone usage description. I'll copy the key. I'll go back to my property list. I will, whoa, what's happening outside my house? The kids are having enough. And for the second one, microphone access, you could just say, write a string that says, please allow microphone access. Again, you could be more explicit, obviously, if the app is getting shipped to the App Store. But at minimum, this is good here. At minimum, this is good there. So we have two keys. We have two keys. One key is for the microphone, and the other key is for the camera. Any questions? Any questions? All good?
All good.
All good. So if you run the app again, mine is not going to prompt me with the dialogue, but it should prompt you with the dialogue here. At this point, when you go to camera, you select camera, you go to video, it should prompt. Amini, did it prompt you?
Yes.
Okay, it should prompt you with a dialogue saying allow access.
It did.
Okay, cool. So at this point, you could capture video like we did before. You could have video in landscape. You could even do a self-portrait if you want. Depends on how much you love yourself. You could go here, do this, and then capture video. Go behind me, capture video, video, and then stop video. Use video. And now I have the video here in my cell. And if I click on the video, it should play in the AV player controller, which it does. So at this point, I could pause, I could rewind, I could do stuff with it. I could even AirPlay it if I have an Apple TV or something. I could AirPlay it as well.
That is magnificent. That is cool. Okay.
Awesome. Good. Good feedback. Thank you. Cool. So we're able to capture video. Objective 1 is out of the way. Any questions? Anybody not able to capture video using the phone?
All we had to do was just the code that we put inside.
Yes, and then do the InfoPD setup.
And that's it.
And that's it.
Wow. And that is that because we already, all right, because I know for the picture, like we didn't, hold on, let me look at this.
So media, right? Our picker view, well, what we have to do, just to make sure that we're on the same page, we grab all the media types that we could do, right? But that's not for capturing. For capturing, all what you need to do basically is present the picker view here, or present the camera, and give access, ask the users for access for the camera. Okay, that's all it is. On other things we're doing, obviously, to display the video and to play the video, we did that work yesterday already. So we did most of the heavy lifting for that yesterday. Does that make sense?
Yes. No. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because we have to play the.
I'm just trying to look back at what we did yesterday to see where.
Write all the notes. Like if you have to go through like from ground zero to all the way where we are now. We created a collection view. We have the cell, and the cell itself has. In the cell itself, just has an image URL or or some photo URL. But when you click on the cell itself, we play the video. Let me just move this for a second. When I click on the cell in my did select here, this is where we're playing the video, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then we have the video URL. This is where we're playing the video from, because we have this temporary video URL here.
Okay.
So that's where we're playing the video from. But later today or tomorrow when we get to it, we'll actually want to save that video. So if something happens to the video URL, we have the video. We're not relying on that video URL. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Okay, so we could capture video. That's great. Let us see where we are. Any questions? Everybody who has a device is able to capture video?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we were able to do that, great. And again, those are the things we just need. That chunk of code and the 2 info plist keys here, that's all we need. Next, we did this yesterday. We did making a video preview. We had an extension on URL. And again, this is the code we wrote at the end of the day yesterday. Cool. And there's some descriptions here if you want to go deeper into the frameworks and stuff like that. That's there. Awesome. Playing a video, we did that already. Step 11, we could play a video using AV Player View Controller. Playing a video now, this is the next one we're gonna go into now. Number 13, how can we play a video in a UI view, right? Or in other words, how can we play a video on the UI view's CA layer? Again, a CA layer is what allows us to do things like, hey, I wanna make the view rounded. So on the layer, I say layer, get me access to your corner radius property and set it to like some float number 8, okay? So very similar with setting up corner radiuses or shadows or border colors, anything you wanna do on the layer or on a view there, we'll be doing today with a video, okay? Before we do anything else, we wanna set up a layer, a player layer, which is also a CA layer. So we'll have our player, our AV player, which has like the URL and everything. And we'll create this AV player layer here, which is another layer. We'll give it a frame, which is going to be the same frame as our header view. So the header view, the same frame as the header view, we'll make the video take that entire frame. We'll give it some sort of aspect ratio here, which is the video graphity. And lastly, we will add this layer we just created. We'll add it as a sub-layer on the layer. Again, this is very similar to saying I want to add a sub-view to a view. But instead of saying adding a sub-view to a view, we'll say we add in a layer or a sub-layer to the layer, right? The same way I would say view that adds sub-view. Everybody with me? Hello?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, cool. So it's the same sort of logic here, but instead of doing it on the view, we do it on the layer. And then for the actual implementation of playing the video in the header view, we'll just grab a random video. So we'll write some like logic here to grab a random video from the videos that exist in. So this will only go through videos that has video data. Actually, we don't have video data. This is updated here, but we have a video URL. So anything that has a video URL, this is gonna be later when we have the actual video data. We don't have video data yet. We have video URL right now. So any object that has a video URL, it's not nil, return it to me in the form of like video URLs, for example. Grab a random video URL. We're not gonna convert it to data because we have a URL already. And then just pass that URL to my AV player, set up my AV player layer, and then that's it. And lastly, we wanna do some logic where it's very similar to our map view. In map view, if I add an annotation, I wanna make sure I remove all the annotations first on a map. Remember that, everybody, from the Foursquare app?
Yes.
Okay, so in my Foursquare app, if I do a new search, I wanna remove all the annotations for pizza, for example. If I'm searching for roti, I wanna move all pizza searches. So remove all annotations before I add new annotations. So this is very similar here. Remove all sub-layers before I add a new sub-layer. Because I don't want to have a video on top of video on top of video on top of video. Everybody with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool. And lastly, just play the video. So this is what we're gonna do for accessing the layer or playing a video on the layer. Any questions with the overview? of what we're doing. I spoke about like, this is like the high level where we're going. This is the code, but we just have to like implement the code. And again, we don't have data objects yet, but when we're doing core data, that's where the data object will come in. Like persistence, when we persist in the video, we persist as a data object. So we need to do some converting later, but we'll get that when we get there. Okay, so let's go to working on this part of the app. Access back to your MediaFeed view controller and let us get video playing in our header view. All right, we need video to be played in our header view. So let's write a function, a utility function right below, right here. Let's write a utility function right here. We'll call it, it's gonna be private. We'll call it play random video. We're gonna play a random video. It doesn't take in any arguments because it knows its videos already. Well, in that case, it could take an argument. We know we're playing on the header view. We could just explicitly say play on the header view here. Actually, let's just do that. We know the header view. Actually, no, let's just pass it in. So play random video in view. Because it's coming from the cell itself. We don't have access to it per se. So we'll have an argument here that takes in a view and just play a random video on that particular view. Great. What do we want to do? So here we want all non-nil media objects. We want all non-nil media objects from the media objects array. Somebody asked you that on an interview. What do you do? We want all non-nil media objects from the media objects array. What do we do for that?
Compact map.
Why compact map?
Because compact map returns all non-nil objects or items.
Awesome, awesome. So the answer was compact map because it returns all non-nil values. Okay, perfect. So this would be good. So I'll use compact map to just return me all non-nil values. And the non-nil values is if the media object dot media URL is nil, I'm not gonna get that back. Everybody? Yeah. Everybody. All right, awesome. So this is where we go. All right, cool. So let us say, let video URLs. We have our media object array. On that, we want to perform some sort of transformation. The transformation we want to do is using compact map. Compact map will transform our array. And what are we after? We after everything that has a video URL, okay? If it has a video URL, give it to me. If it doesn't, I do not want it back. So in that case, we have an array. Like if I type in video URLs here, I have an array of URLs, okay? Everybody with me?
Yeah.
Yes.
If I used map, what would be my array?
Media objects.
It would be media, well, it would be media, it would be URLs, right? Like it would be URLs, but what's the difference here?
Optional.
They're optional. Now we need to do more work to find out if the thing is optional, don't use it, and all that stuff there. But with compact map, it does all that work for us already. For media objects, that answer came, right? If this would return media objects, right? Mm-hmm. But this would return URLs. Do we all see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we have our video URLs. Great. So we have our video URLs. Next thing, we want a random URL. So let video URL. I'm using optional binding here because random element returns an optional. So on video URLs array, get me a random element. So if I say random element, it returns me an optional URL. That's why we unwrap it. So in the if let here, at this point, we have a video URL, which is not optional. So we could do whatever we want with this one. Great. So let us get access to a player. And here we'll have an AV player. We'll initialize it with the URL, right? And the URL is video URL. Great. Any questions so far? So we did compact map to return us non-nil values for URLs. Now we're accessing a random element. So we want to get a random,
Wait, why do you have to unwrap the random element?
Why do I have to unwrap the random element?
Safely unwrap it.
It's optional.
You mean like instead of doing this?
Yeah.
We avoid that, right?
But
yeah.
You know.
I know, that's the thing, I know. What if I don't know? What if I take it for granted?
Hi, Nora.
Being safe is always better, right? Even if you think you know. The other developer might do something else. Cool?
He said hi.
Okay.
Oh, Nora, say hello to the class. The class says hi. Hi.
Hi, Nora.
Awesome. Close the door for daddy, please. Thank you, baby. Bye. Howard. Howard. Yes. So yeah, you just want to do just bang it here, right? Or
yes.
Force unwrap it here. Yeah, I would probably just safely unwrap it. Cool.
Okay.
Avoid submitting code like that though. Like, please, I've seen you do it already. Just avoid doing it. You don't want to have the person who's reading your code question anything. What did they say? Better safe than sorry, right?
Okay.
All right. I know you're somewhat hesitant. I don't exactly know why, but just, yeah. Because I'm telling you, man, you ship code, your app crashes because something you thought was always going to be working is not working, and now you have like 1 star. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, just be careful with the force unwrapping there. Cool. All right, so now we have our player. Let's continue on. We have our player. Now we want to do this layer that we said. Create sublayer. Here we'll just call this player layer. Player layer is an AV player layer. We inject it with the actual player that we have above. So now it has a player. This is a layer, right? Create a CA layer. I'll just say CA layer here. All right, now we need to give it frame. So give it a frame, set its frame. Set its frame. All right, so player layer dot frame. We're making the same as the header view we said. In that case, the view that's getting passed in. This view here. I don't want to confuse us. Actually, it's okay. That's fine. That's okay. So view dot bounds. Again, this view is not the view controller's view. Everybody with me? Hello?
That's the header view.
That's the view getting passed into the function.
Yeah.
If I want to talk about, if I want to talk about my my view controller's view, I would have to do like self here. Those are one of the places like you need to do self. If you want to differentiate between the argument getting passed in and the local one. Everybody with me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's one very similar to our initializers, right? Same thing. Like you have an initializer, the way you differentiate the one passing in is the same thing. What am I talking about? If you have an initializer here, initializer that takes in some sort of value, which is an int. Let's call it an int. And I cannot just say value equal to value. Everybody with me? I need to say self.value. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So this view doesn't have anything to do with the view controller's view. This view is the view getting passed into the function. All right, so we set the frame to the frame of the header view in that case. So take up the entire header view, take up the entire header view. And next we want to set the aspect ratio. So set video aspect ratio. And here we'll say player layer dot video gravity equal to, what are we gonna do? Resize aspect is fine. Cool. So our layer is pretty much set up. Next steps, we said remove all sublayers from the header view. And lastly, we will add the player layer to the header, views. Okay, cool. So remove all sublayers from the header view. Let's go ahead and do that. So here we have our view dot layer dot sublayers. Sublayers is an array. Remove all. Right? So Howard would come in and say bang, right? But, oh, sorry, exclamation mark, force unwrap it. We're not gonna force unwrap it. We'll optionally unwrap it. If it doesn't exist, nothing happens. But if you do that, and for some reason, it doesn't have sublayers for some reason, it will crash. So just be careful with the exclamation marks. That's all I want to say. Because some people, when they read code, they are very, very particular. And you don't want anybody to question like why, the why, like, especially like if you could control it. Things you could control, and then just do your best there. Does that make sense? Hello,
Yeah,
hello,
Yeah,
hello. All
we're
right, cool.
here.
Cool. So let's add the layer now. So sublayer, what do we want to do? So add sublayer. And the layer we want to add is called player layer. Cool. And lastly, just play the video. Player.play. Play video. Let me get this so you can see the entire function. Almost. Just get rid of it entirely. Almost. Barely. Ugh. Okay. So that function, that's a function that will enable us to randomly play a video. And we'll call that function in our supplementary view for supplementary header. So anytime that view gets called, we'll just like pick a random video. Just keep picking random videos there.
Alice, can scroll down for a second.
Scroll down, right here?
Play video.
Okay.
Play, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody recall what time we started? 10:45-ish?
It was 10:45.
10:45, okay. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, let us go use that function. So let's go down to our view for supplementary element of kind at. This guy. So here we have a header view. Great, we have a header view here. So right when this function gets called, we'll just call our play video and we'll pass in header view. So every time like you scroll up and down, it just plays a random video. Again, this logic is fine for now, just to test here, but it's up to you how you build out your app as far as like what UI, UX, or rather what UX experience you want there for the user. But here we just want to play random videos and get our header view getting played there. Okay.
So what are we doing with the actual header view class? Nothing, we just created it?
Yeah, we just created it to show us how, well, first of all, we needed to subclass something, or else we would have to do like a view in here. But now we're able to add more to the header view. As Amini was saying yesterday, if I want to add buttons here or some sort of image, any other view I want to add, I could add to that class.
Okay.
Okay, and it's gonna render. But right now, since our header view, we're taking up the entire view and we're just playing a video, there's no other element on that.
Okay.
But we could have easily had like a label showing the name of the video if we had a caption for the video.
Okay.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you could definitely build upon that there for sure. Okay, so let's run it. I'm running on my device. Doesn't really matter at this point. Actually, it doesn't matter. You know what? Let's have equal opportunity here. Let's run it on our simulator because we're not capturing, we have videos already. So run it on your simulator. Run on simulator. Sorry. Ugh, let me move this here. Okay, cool. All right, I'm running on the simulator and let's get some videos in our simulator. Everybody's running the simulator, or you could run on a device. If you have a device, keep running on the device. But right now we're running on the simulator. So let's get some videos in our collection view. So videos, what are the short ones? I have a short one here. I'll choose this. Just try to add like 3 videos or so. Offline, I could show you, well, let's just talk about offline. Talk about offline. To get more videos in our simulator. What's happening to my simulator? This one, it's a bit slow. It's 20-second video. Okay, choose that. Right, so it plays. Everybody sees that?
Yeah.
Does it play for everybody?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Yep. Let's see this one. That's gonna be the last one I compress for now because if it's working already, we're able to test that. That's good. That's a good place to be. That's a very good place to be because now we could actually start talking about persistence after this. Because we could play using AVKit, we could play using AVFoundation. At this point, we just want to persist the stuff we have. Because the user doesn't want to always have to create new content every time they launch the app. That would not be a good experience. Okay, so now we have a different video here. If I scroll up and down, well, if I scroll really, I don't have enough content. It changed. Did we see that? Hello?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So let's stop this. All right. Was everybody able to get their videos to play in the header view?
Yeah.
Yep.
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not. On the simulator and the device, or both?
Just the device. I don't have anything in my simulator for videos, but I'm gonna compare some code I just got. I'm gonna try and fix this.
Okay. Was it just not rendering, or did you call the play function in your view 4?
Yes.
So you call this here, and your play random video. Are you playing? Did you say play?
Yeah, player.play.
Okay.
Oh,
it's possible. It's possible.
I think he just saw something.
Is it possible to put in a tap gesture on the entire view so that when you tap on it, it can pause the video?
Yep. You could do all that.
Alex.
So on the player, you could just say pause. On the player itself?
Say play and pause. Like,
yeah,
and I
play
put
pause.
tap gesture in, and I'll just make a like a function for it. And then inside of that function, it would just say play or pause.
Exactly. We'll do play or pause in a while. But yeah, you could do that for sure. There's a lot more functionality you could do.
Thank you.
Very good. Yes, Luba, go ahead.
And how can we change like the frame on the header view? So, you know, like, can we give video a frame?
The video a
frame. That it doesn't go all the way to the borders. That it's inside the yellow.
You could change the aspect, the gravity on the layer and see if that gives you a better view. Not this one, sorry. This is the wrong app. Where is the app? AVFoundation. You think that's compressed already? I see that it just slow. Luba, just try changing the gravity and see if the aspect fit is different. Okay?
Huh?
Try to change the gravity here of the video.
Resize aspect.
Yeah. What other options we have? We have aspect fill, try that. Try aspect fill.
Resize aspect fill, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Stop. Ooh, sorry. Okay, we are still good on time, 11:34. All right, the next step of our app, so far we have things working. The next step of our app, the more logical part of our app now, is to talk about persistence. So here we're able to play, Greg?
Yeah, I'm all set. Thank you, Assad. I didn't add the sublayer. Go figure.
Oh, okay, cool. Great, you are welcome. So we're able to play a video on the layer here. Great, so the next logical step here is to start persisting the user-generated content. Because every time we create some content, we want it to persist through the app, right? So that's our next step here. And what are we gonna do? We could do documents directory, but here we're gonna use core data, okay? We'll use core data because your app could very easily have more relationships later as you build it out, especially for the app you're building currently. The creativity app, you could have multiple entities there, and using core data would be a better approach for that. Yes, core data could take a bit more to set up, but at the end of the day, it will be a better object relation graph for you to work with. So we'll see what that looks like. And that also gives us access to seeing how to store images in core data and seeing how to store videos in core data. Along the way, we have to write a next extension here, a utility extension here to convert data to a URL. Because at the end of the day, the AV player doesn't take a data object, it takes a URL. So we save it as data. To play back the video, we have to convert that video data to a URL. So what we're gonna do is save a temporary URL in the temporary directory. So this is temporary. That means it's up to the iOS system itself to like clear it out whenever it wants. So you don't save anything permanent in the temporary directory. You just wanna save it there just to play the video again. We write it to the documents directory or to the file system, and we now get back a URL. We return the URL, we have the URL here, and then we could give that URL to the AV player. So what are we gonna do? We have an extension on data, so very similar, we'll be saying like video data dot video URL from data, if that makes sense. So this is how we're gonna use that, very similar to how we used the image generator yesterday, okay? So the majority,
is what we've been watching, but it's also interesting to note that you still
somebody has the video there,
or who are in a hospital and then diagnosed with COVID.
what's happening?
So the volume is
Lilia, Lilia, do you mind?
We've been watching.
Oh, Lilia, I think mute.
Outside of New York
Actually,
City.
I could mute her. Look at that. The power. I have the power to do it.
Hello?
I was able to do it. You are not on mute.
I know. Oh, I'm not on mute. Oh, sorry.
I just fixed it. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I was able to mute you myself, which is cool. The power. Cool. So the majority of the day is going to be spent on adding core data to our app and refactoring our code. That means we have an object here called media object. We need to refactor that into using core data models. So the remainder of our app here is just basically adding core data. So before we do that, a best practice approach would be to push your code to GitHub, right? A good practice approach here would be to push your code to GitHub. So let's go ahead and do so. Everybody? Is everybody here still?
We're here.
All right, cool. So source control, commit. And I worked on a lot of files today. We worked on a lot of files. We worked on the media cell. Not much there. We worked on the media view controller. There we did most of our code. We added the source type for camera stuff. We added the play random video. Scrolling down, what else do we do? We called the play random video here. That's it. Okay, so basically you could write a commit here and basically say can play video using AV player view controller and video on a CA layer. Okay, so this is a good place to like write a commit message and push your work to GitHub. Because now we're about to refactor a lot of code. We're about to add core data manager, core data, and all these objects and everything. So that's a good place to like start pushing your code to GitHub. So here I have my commit message, I commit and I push. And I have changes on my remote. So I need to pull those changes.
What message did you put?
Can play video on AV player view controller and a CA layer. So there's two ways we could play video in our app.